afternoon, Joe.
Afternoon, Carlos.
How are you doing this week?
Today's a good week. It's going to be starting to get some steamy temperatures here in Minnesota, so
Yeah.
I'll take it over the cold.
Yeah. I was driving outside of the cities here and trying to make a determination if the corn was going to be knee-high by next week. And I realized I'm a suburban kid and I have no idea.
No, yeah, it's knee-high by the 4th of July. Well, that's the old thing, but yeah, it's strange now, right? Because all the corn we get early is from Missouri or wherever. So, But the really good corn is August, right? That's how it's.
That's the good sweet corn. Although you can train yourself to eat field corn if you prepare it enough. But
I had corn in our yard at one point in time.
Awesome.
But
how did you keep the critters away?
I don't know. I know we did it twice. We had a house in Cold Spring, and I did it.
Okay.
But the effort wasn't there, and I was like, when I first did it, how do I get the corn? Where is it? Yeah. But it all worked out.
All right, let's dive back and visit our friends at Carver High. And in this next episode, Mainstream, we discover that Ken Reeves thinks what this team lacks and what this school lacks is pep. They lack pep.
Exactly.
No pep at all. No pep fest because there's no pep.
They have no pep. They have no mascot. They still don't have a mascot. That's one of the running things of post the show is that everyone they can't figure out what their mascot was.
Yeah, and we discussed that early on, and technically there isn't. Although in this one, it's the most obvious mascot when you're named after George Washington Carver. At least my middle American, mid-'80s suburban education is peanut butter or peanut.
That's right. It was that peanut costume came in so ever so subtly, so to speak.
Yeah. But serious topic here, and I'm trying to think back. This episode revolves around mainstreaming. We have, we will say differently abled, because I don't know what the correct terminology is, and I don't want to say anything that's insensitive to anyone, but we have a young man who, I believe, did they say he was autistic in the show?
Correct. And he was autistic, correct.
Okay. And he is being mainstreamed, and it wasn't like he was being put on the team, but basically it would be helpful to him if he could be around the basketball team, was the way it was presented.
Correct. And he was going to be on the team, and it was kind of coach's challenge is to try to get him to play, because at his old school, which was not a mainstream school, he did play, though how that took, what form that took was kind of hard to determine based on on the 1 hour show for that too as well.
It very much, it felt like he likes basketball. Here's a basketball team, which is okay. And Ken Reeves, being the great dude he is, you know what I mean, is initially frustrated, but digs deep and says, what's going on with this kid? How can I reach this kid? And as frustrated as he gets, he just hangs with it.
Yeah, and that was the most self-doubt that Ken Reeves have showed throughout the show, and the most frustration, other than obviously when he got punched in the earlier episode that we talked about, Spare the Rod, but it was, I think the actor did pretty good with that. It felt a little forced, but it was, I think, of seeing something that like that on TV. I don't recall, and maybe this is my different experience, I don't recall many autistic kids in school.
No.
Not certainly mainstream, even though she was right. That was legislation was introduced in 73.
Yeah. And my understanding, and I do not know, I've not been in a classroom in decades, okay? So I cannot tell you what it's like in a public or private school, elementary or high school classroom, but at least what I remember from my high school experience in the 80s was there was a separate school district, but within the high school building of people, and they attended their own classes, but really, perhaps at rallies and pep fests and stuff, but I don't recall having any of those students in classes with me. So it was like, you can share the same building. Sure, if that makes sense and if that's beneficial to people, but there really wasn't. Mainstreaming suggests more integration than what I experienced. Maybe that's changed.
I definitely think it's changed, because at one point I substituted for about half a year.
Okay.
And I could see that there would be people who would be different, autistic or whatever that may be, were included in the class, and they had an aide, not unlike what the student in this episode had an aide.
Yeah.
But I don't remember. I remember more of that separate school. I remember that in grade school more.
Yeah.
I don't remember it in junior high at all. Do you?
Yeah. No, I do not. I don't remember it at all in junior high. But once again, that is, as far away as high school seems for me, junior high feels like it's another quantum leap from there. So
yeah, it was a little crazy. I thought that for that. So I mean, it was. I thought. And go ahead. Yeah.
Is to bring back the peanut costume. Is it our man Reese that puts it on? So someone finds. Apparently, someone is trying to work on the pep because there's this peanut costume that's found in the corner of the locker room, and I think is it Reese or Thorpe? I can't remember.
It was Reese.
Which. Reese puts it on, and the young man who's being mainstreamed is just delighted with laughter. Seeing Reese running around in the locker room. I just thinks it's the funniest thing in the world, and everybody's laughing, everybody's having fun. So mid-game, I think, halftime, coming out of halftime in one of the games.
Correct.
The kid is on the bench, and all of a sudden he's gone, and Reeves is into the game, and out comes running onto the field the peanut. Or the the floor.
When I watched that back then, as my memory, and I'll get into how kind of the memory fades and doesn't quite get it perfectly. I felt that was a longer time. It was much more traumatic, at least to me, from my mind. But when I watched it, it seemed pretty tame.
Yeah.
It got him off pretty quickly, and it wasn't that much of a distraction. But I thought the mom who played the mom did a really great job with that. So it was.
And what's interesting is that it could have been handled where he was being mocked.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was being mocked. I don't think he was, because basically it was clear that it was something that brought him joy. And so here's my brain. I was going to your plot, your standard plot machine, and what comes out is I'm thinking, okay, we're going to have a Rudy moment. Or he's going to become the permanent mascot. I'm like, one of those two will happen, and we will have our back to school special ending.
Yeah,
and we didn't quite get either one of those.
Yeah, and it was the kid, the actor who played the autistic kid. I thought did quite an excellent job.
And you brought up Rain Man. He did it a decade plus before Dustin Hoffman did Rain Man.
So I thought that was great.
It's hard. I would imagine that it is not easy to try to pretend that one has no affect. You know what I mean? I don't know how I would get myself in a mindset to that, because one of the reasons that I did not become a millionaire playing poker is that I don't have a poker face, and people can read my thoughts across the table from me. Keep that in mind when we have the first ever Forgotten Television poker tournament.
There you go. And then it was the particular episode. I thought the ending was weak and strong in two different ways. So when the kid gets out there and plays, or he's standing there and they're all holding our breath, and the other players are kind of, it's a fake that they're boxing him out. I thought that was fake-ish at the time, but I wondered, has it inspired? I've seen this on YouTube and other things before where they let player coaches, people go in and do that sort of thing now. And so I wonder if that was one of the inspirations for that. So I thought that was maybe a great thing, if that was really what really inspired.
It may have, because I'm trying to don't think I saw the kind of videos that you're talking about until YouTube era. But I think it may have inspired it. That's my brain is going off. I spin off ideas from this show. I'll have to talk to you about it later. But then they left it open. Did he make it or didn't he? You don't know.
Yeah. And then he disappears, right? You don't see him.
He just, unless he comes back in seasons 2 or 3, he's gone. Yeah. So who was it? I can't remember which one person said, but it's in my notes. You're an athlete. You are supposed to help crippled children, like in the United Way commercials.
Oh, I don't know if it was one of the players, or I don't know. I'd have to look back. I remember that phrase, but the use of the word crippled was jarring for a 26.
Yeah.
And I thought that was one thing compared to what the vice principal, who was very talked about it, and how these things about mainstreaming and how this might be more uncomfortable for you than it is for the student. I thought that was well done, but and then you'd throw in I don't know how to handle a cripple, Reeves.
But you know what, though? I think that if you asked high school basketball coaches across America in 1978, that would have probably been your number one answer. We're not talking about people at that time that were hired for their nurturing nature, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I felt it was very real. It was a very real response. It was not the response that we would hope that people would give in 2026, but it was a very real, it felt real at the time. So I need to ask you, did you encounter the trivia question that I had left our last episode on?
I know what you said. You said Academy Award nominee, correct?
That is correct in this episode.
Yeah. I was very familiar with who that was when I looked at it. So that would be James Cromwell, who was the movie Babe, right?
It was the pig movie, yep.
Yeah, which I enjoyed. I remember seeing that in the theater with with some of my kids.
Yeah. And he holds a distinction to this day among all Academy Award winners or nominees.
Oh, I have no idea.
He's the tallest nominee ever for an Academy Award.
I did some research on Mr. Cromwell, and I learned a lot of things that I didn't know. But I really liked him in L.A. Confidential.
Yes.
He played the sergeant in that particular, Sergeant Dudley Smith.
Yep.
And those are from the James Ellroy novels.
Yep. Yeah.
And I've read the majority of them.
Yeah.
And he has been named one of the top 50 villains.
Yeah.
And
that movie is way too underappreciated. That movie is so good.
It is. And I really enjoyed the movie, and I've really enjoyed the books.
Yeah.
And there's 4 books, and I think he appears in 6 James Ellroy novels, which I bet you that movie helped inspire Ellroy. He's doing some prequels now that are going back then, so that was good. But the actual James Cromwell is a bit of an agitator. Been arrested many times for protesting at Wendy's and other things, and he's a vegan now.
Yeah.
After the movie Babe, and so he.
I tell you, I always assumed that he was a Brit. I just assumed he was one of these guys with that speaks pitch perfect English, and he's going to have a British accent. I just assumed it, and I'm reading his bio. I'm like, oh wow! I just made that assumption because he's a really brilliant actor, right?
Yeah.
And I was waiting for the accent. And so surprised.
So it was. So I found him to be quite interesting. And the IMDb says that in the early career, since he would tower over the leading man, they made him in positions where he crouched down or was sitting, so he didn't overshadow them too as well. But I thought that was interesting. I have a trivia question for you about this episode.
Excellent.
So you with a great question about who was Academy Award nominated. I'm going to say which actor as well was an Emmy winning from this episode.
From this episode, Emmy winning. Wow. Trying to think.
I'll give you a clue.
Yeah.
Was also named in 1995 one of the 50 most beautiful people. In 1994.
50 most beautiful. I don't know. You're going to have to help me out.
That was the woman who was hounding Reeves all over the office. That was the actress Barbara Babcock.
She's Stephen Bochco's ex-wife.
Is he? Okay.
I think. Maybe I'm thinking of it wrong. Let's hold on. Let's put a pin on that.
Yeah. But Barbara Babcock won an Emmy for Hill Street Blues in 1981, playing the role of Grace Gardner.
Okay.
And then she's hired on the Hill Street Blues to enhance the Purius of the Hill Street station.
Oh, funny.
And then she was named, not that I pay attention to this, but 50 most people in 1994, she probably would have been almost 60.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah.
Awesome. Barbara Babcock. It's not the person I thought it was that is of Stephen Bochco.
Yeah, I know you're thinking about who. Yeah.
She's the one who played Faye Ferrillo.
The ex-wife.
Daniel J. Travante's ex-wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, I have one last note on this show. Do you have anything else?
I have a couple things.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just a couple things. Jason Green, who played Thomas Hendricks, the autistic character, he changed his name to Icon L and is a successful real estate broker in New York City.
Right on. Good for him.
And then Deborah White, who played the social worker.
Yeah.
She didn't do much in acting, but she did 5 episodes on a show afterwards. You guessed it, St. Elsewhere.
St. Elsewhere. Wow, the pipeline.
Yep.
And that pipeline is fascinating.
And if we get to this point, if we ever do St. Elsewhere, Bruce Paltrow expands on the autism theme in St. Elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Massively, if you are familiar with the finale of that series.
Oh, yeah, no, so I'm not familiar, so I think that it is.
What you're saying that is the exception that swallowed the rule, but I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, but yeah, I thought those are my notes, and I think that, again, for something in 1978, or probably would have been 79 at the time, pretty groundbreaking to see something like that on TV.
Absolutely, and I thought it was handled well. Once again, they could have just done the whole comic relief thing, but they didn't. I thought it was handled with a level of seriousness and care. Yeah, I'm talking about this as if my grandkids wrote it, but I've got no vested interest in this show whatsoever. I just appreciate that they were trying to do more than what other people were trying to do at the time.
Yeah, so that was interesting too. I enjoyed that. Yeah. And then we get on to episode 14, Little Orphan Abner.
Yeah, and here's a note I have, and I did not distinguish between mainstream and Little Orphan Abner. I think it's in the Little Orphan Abner, but they just used a phrase that I don't think I've ever asked you what your relationship to that phrase is. They mentioned the life of Riley. Oh. And having lived the life of Riley, I'm wondering what it feels like to have that statement out there in the world.
I'm trying to think, does that kind of come from that TV show, The Life of Riley, back in the 60s, I think is where it kind of originated.
Yeah.
So the thing equates with, I don't know, middle class, you know, at that particular time. So, yeah, I've heard that phrase, and I've heard that people kind of make it that it's, for lack of a better term, the good life.
Yeah, you're living. That was actually another one for us Minnesotans. I don't know if you recall the iconic Time magazine cover of the mid-'70s with our governor, Wendell Anderson, holding a walleye, and the title was The Good Life in Minnesota.
Yep, I remember that well, and I remember that magazine, and then I remember Wendell resigning the governorship and appointing himself senator.
And you and I over some beers are going to have to talk about that, because I have some insider info on that, on that entire debacle.
And he was a Republican, wasn't he?
No, he was a Democrat.
He was a Dem. Okay.
Yeah, he would have been president had he not made that misstep. Had he not made that misstep, he'd have been president without a doubt. I mean, if he'd just waited, he'd have been. He had massive numbers. It was the biggest self-goal in political history. But anyways, I digress. We need to give our man Abner Goldstein his due. It's time.
Yes, we do. He was the man. He was the main front center character along with his grandparents.
No, I can't. Are his parents dead? Is that what the
Correct.
situation is?
They died in a car crash when he was 11.
Okay. And so he lives with Grandma and Grandpa, and with all of the... It actually explains the character, right? He's more... He carries himself as a 35 or 40-year-old, you know what I mean, with the other players, and that's because he hangs out with people that are 70.
Exactly. And the one thing struck me growing up in St. Louis Park, they really treated the religion respectfully and showed it too, more than you would normally see on TV, I think, too, as well. And I think that particular piece was well done. Now, not sure that he didn't really stay long in acting, the guy who played Abner, but this was a struggle for him, I thought, a little bit on this episode to do the switch from the shy retiring type to the main type. But it was a interesting episode in terms of the grandfather obviously having a heart attack and then kind of dealing with that situation.
And Reeves is like, hey guys, let's look out for our teammates, a thing. And the guys are like, holy cow, we got an unsupervised home here. We can bring girls, which is where they went right away. But I have a hard time quite understanding the character Abner Goldstein, in the sense that he seems excited. It just is he Forrest Gump, right? It's like going, wait a minute, you guys just are pretending to be my friends because you want to use my grandparents out. It's is he really that dumb, or do they expect, you know what I mean? I don't know. I did love this episode, and you told me it was one of the highest rated episodes on IMDb, but
one of the ones that they say is highly rated. But the other thing that I saw was the Coach Reeves goes to the leader and he says, hey, he needs somebody, maybe you go over and see him. I said, oh, he's going to do it. And I thought it was very altruistic until the girl came out.
Yeah.
It wasn't as all that. And obviously then all of them brought girls over, which was always quite interesting too as well. And
they got the tunes jamming. And...
Yeah. What struck me was the beer. Think of a high school kid now, not that they would be drinking, you know what I mean? The things would have changed between, would it be a cool, you know what I mean? You know.
Well, actually, I don't even know, because my understanding from people in the business is that we've got a generation of kids that don't go out to bars to drink.
Yeah.
They just don't. It's not part of, which I'm feeling folks are scrambling to figure out what to do about that. But back then, if that would have been my friend's house, there would have been beer, there would have been kegs.
Yeah.
Someone would have gotten broken.
That was a different time, right? Because that was the whole thing. We didn't have, it was either that or you had some bottle of hard liquor too as well.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit different too. And this is a kind of a weird show for me, because as I was watching it, I said, I have never seen this. I've never seen this until now. But in the end, when Salami brought over his mother's meatballs for that meal, my mind said I remembered this. Or am I just projecting that him being Italian, he was going to bring his mom's meatballs? But I just thought that whole kind of thing is funny, how your memory kind of plays tricks with you, I think.
Yeah, I have to be honest with you. And my 80s experience probably was very different from yours in a certain sense. That has affected my memory, but I got zero memory of any of these shows. I remember they sang in the shower, but I didn't have, and the basic premise and the characters and everything else. Like I said, I think I've told you in my memory, because once again, I was 6 feet tall. I was like 11, so I thought I was a great basketball player. I wasn't quite 6 feet, but I was tall for my age. And though I thought I was going to be a great basketball player, so was Warren Coolidge, who was the great center. And so I thought the show was about Coolidge. And this is, I would say he's probably 5th or 6th on the team from the cast of screen time.
Yeah, I just made my first season thoughts. Coolidge is not as prominent me as my memory says.
Yeah.
But we can still have season 2, so for me anyway.
Yep, 2 and 3 for me. So I know I've saw them. I don't know. Life was so weird back then. It was basically school and sports, and we had a TV guide in our house. There was no VCR.
Nope.
It was appointment television. And I don't remember spending a lot of time talking about shows with friends, with the exception of, I have a very specific recollection of being on the playground in 5th grade and having kids talking about the Killer Bees episode from the first season of Saturday Night Live. I remember that conversation. But I don't remember, did you see The White Shadow? Did you see that episode? I don't recall those kind of conversations, but that could be a fault of my memory and not that they didn't happen.
Yeah, all those things are interesting. And the other particular piece, too, is we think we have an idea who Coolidge was, or we think we have or who's the leader out there. And it's so this is, and it was seeing it at the age of 60 versus 14 is a different kind of sense different. Of so I thought that was interesting. Our guest stars in this show were quite interesting.
They ran the gamut, and there were some. You start with the grandparents.
And he was an interesting fella. His name was John Beliefer. I can't put out the pronunciation, but I looked him up, and my famous memory of him was he was on those old Charlie Chan TV shows, which used to play in our time on Sundays at 1:00. So he was and those are from the 30s. So he was doing this in the 80s. So that was quite interesting. And then who was the Minnesotan, or current Minnesotan, I should say, who was the guest star there? We got to throw that in since we're from Minnesota.
I am not.
He was in Ghostbusters.
Was it the rabbi? Was it Rabbi Shapiro?
Nope. It was the gentleman.
Oh, Ernie Hudson. Hudson. Yeah, I remember seeing him on there going. Of course, Ernie Hudson is a vampire because he looks exactly the same now as he did then. So.
And he was arguing over 15 cents.
Yes.
And about his drink. And then, do you recall it was Abner, and he was with his coworker, an African-American guy, right? His name was Ricky Barnes. And at first I thought he was the guy who did all the noises on Police Academy.
Yeah.
But it wasn't him. He has another very small acting career, but had a very prominent one role in the Axel Foley movie, Beverly Hills Cop, where, remember when the first team got kicked off and the second team were following them?
Yes. The banana in the tailpipe?
He was the guy the African American guy,
yes,
and the white guy, and
yeah.
who Axel Foley made fun of his voice.
Oh, that's funny. Oh yeah, he's going. No, you've been hanging around him too much. You got to say,
yep.
Hey and man, so I'm not gonna fall for the banana in the tailpipe.
Yeah, and he was the other worker at the movie theater with Abner Goldstein. So I thought that was interesting.
I missed those, and I missed the Minnesota connection. So excellent. Do you have anything else for Little Orphan Abner?
No, I just think that it continues the sillification a little bit of Abner, but the only other thing is why is at the very end when Coach Reeves and Abner meet and Abner's all fired about, I'm not going to quit the team and I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Why is Coach walking out of the wood shop? Is the name of the door?
I don't know. Maybe he's building a birdhouse for his sister or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that was strange, but yeah. But
do you want to try to address the LaGrande Finale, or do you want to leave that for next week?
No, let's finish it up so we can get on to season 2. But
excellent. You want to do the setup for the show? I want to be able to say my favorite line.
All right. My only setup is that there is the group. They're getting to the end of the season, and they play their last game. They're walking down the hall at one particular point in time, and 2 young ladies are walking by. Yeah. One has a not-so-great reputation, and the gentleman let them know. But what they don't know is Morris Thorpe is interested in this young lady.
Yes.
And her name is LaGrande is her last name. The name of the episode is called LaGrande Finale. So I was like, so that was interesting. So that's the setup. So what was your favorite line?
Just want to, before I get to my favorite line, is I've drawn some analogies to Welcome Back, Kotter, in the sense that I'll say, hey, that's the comparison how teenagers were being portrayed.
Yeah.
This reminds me of a plot from that. There was the young lady on Welcome Back, Kotter whose nickname was Hotsy Totsy.
Oh, that's right.
And she had a bad reputation. Similar to what happens here, unearned, undeserved, just boys being stupid and talking and claiming things that didn't happen. But my favorite line is Morris Thorpe is over there at his house to pick her up, and parents are like, oh, a date? We didn't know she had a date, and this and that. And so the dad's got to do the pre-date grilling.
Yeah.
And of course, he's trying to connect, and he says, my wife and I really enjoyed Roots.
Yeah. Yes, and he's a little taken aback about that whole thing.
Yes, I think that his daughter didn't prepare him for that, and it wasn't quite Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, but it wasn't that far off from that either.
No, and it was that portrayal. We got 2 of those type of scenes too as well, and then Morris misses. That's another thing of its era. Mm-hmm. Morris was supposed to go out with her the night of the team.
Yeah.
But she couldn't show because her aunt and uncle came up. No, the phone didn't text them.
No phones, they just show up. Yeah, no. Back then, the smoke signals, we couldn't see them. It was cloudy days.
So I just thought that was interesting. And then when they did have the date, they went to LAX. That was LAX.
I actually was going to say, this is one of the things that 9/11 ruined. It was actually a cheap, fun date idea back in the day. You could go out to the airport and there was an observation lounge. And you could just sit out there and just hang out, and it was a fun, cheap date looking at planes, right?
Yeah.
So he was trying to fulfill that same thing.
Yeah, and I thought that was good. And I thought the character Karen LaGrande, it's kind of sweet and innocent at home. That she's like firing up a heater in the car.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that she's so squeaky clean as that she wanted some people to believe. But
I think the interplay between Morris and her about expectations. Morris trying to say, I think I expected this. He said, and she explained it, and I thought that was really well done. And I remember that speech she gave about, I really loved that former guy, and I showed him that.
Yeah.
And then when she was saying that, I said, I remember that speech exactly all these years later, except I thought it happened during the middle of the afternoon.
Oh, interesting.
Not at 12 midnight.
Yeah. I've explored some of those weird things where our brain makes certain connections. And I think I mentioned it to you before, just because I've often tried to, now that you have the ability to do archaeology on your own life, I'm able to say, I wish I had a ticket to that one game. And it's like going, oh, wait a minute, that wasn't a Monday Night Football game like I thought it was.
Yeah.
And the way our brains work, it's not like we're running a body cam 24/7 and we go check the tape and rewatch it. Our brain recreates the images. And so when you're thinking about when you were in high school, it is your 60-year-old self projecting back what it was like to be in high school, and your perspectives are totally different. Watching this show what I noticed when I was watching it as a kid is very different from the things that I'm noticing taking from it. And that's fine. If anybody that's ever watched a cartoon, anybody that's ever watched the Flintstones with their kids goes, wow, I don't think I would have caught any of that layer when I was a kid and watched it. It's okay that they speak at different levels like that.
Yeah, and I think, too, interesting things about this show was, when did Ken Reeves become Daddy Warbucks?
I want to say Ken Reeves he had to sell off some of that NBA pension to buy those jackets for everybody on the team. Damn,
I
son.
know. I don't know how much they'd have cost back then. Those things didn't look... I mean, that's another thing that just went over my head.
Leather jackets, like leather like that, those were hundreds of dollars back then.
Yeah. So you saw that, and then he takes Morris and the Karen and the vice principal out for dinner after the dance.
Yes.
And so he was rolling in money.
Yes. Yeah, he's got the dance, and it was it was not a cliffhanger ending. It was the team has completed a season. Ken Reeves feels like he fits in. He's getting along with Miss Buchanan as well as possible. They have a grudging acceptance of each other, and I still don't think an NBA coach is going to end up coaching high school, or NBA player is going to end up coaching high school in the inner city without a transition. But with that said, I think he likes it. I think he likes the job.
And do you think, too, that last episode, and I don't recall, nothing ever happens in the other episodes, but I think that last episode set up an undertone of romance between Coach Reeves and Miss Pringle?
I think that there is. See, Pringle is such a great name. I'm going to name a character Pringle in something because that's such a great name. Because that's what I go. I have to remind myself.
Canon.
But yeah, I think there's an underlying sexual tension between the coach and actually, it'll be interesting to see because it was very rare to see interracial relationships then. But interracial relationships with a white man and an African American woman, super rare. So I don't think they explore romance. I think they just say, let's keep the little flirtatious tension going. But maybe they do. That would be another milestone if they were to show that.
Yeah. So I think that was interesting. And then once basketball's over, Coach is still around, right? Not doing much.
I'm sorry. He complains about having to teach, but that's what you are. You're a teacher who also coaches.
Yep. He's not the gym teacher because obviously we know he just subbed for that. But and he had to do lunchroom duty or something like that.
And home ec as well. And we'll see. Actually, we'll pick it up in the middle of their second season at Carver High.
But this episode did have one great highlight, obviously, which was one of your favorite things, Carlos, the singing.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, this is while he is pursuing romance with Miss LaGrande, the rest of the team's gay. Whatever, we're a team, and we're now a singing group. So they go full on Brady Bunch with the singing jackets, the jackets, and everything else. Yeah, and I love the singing. It was Glee before there was Glee.
Yeah, and I think too that the music teacher that helps him, he is Blythe Danner's brother. Blythe Danner is married to Bruce Paltrow. And Bruce Paltrow and Blythe Danner's daughter is Gwyneth Paltrow. So obviously
so that's his uncle. He's Gwyneth's uncle. That's right.
And then he again doesn't do much in television, but guess what? What's his next role on? St. Elsewhere.
Elsewhere. That's awesome.
But I thought he did a great job getting them to sing when they're practicing. And Yep. And then the biggest memory.
He basically. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, then when they got to the end of when they do the performance.
Yes.
The biggest memory from the whole shows for me was the bass of Coolidge.
Yes. Yep.
And so I think that was really well done. I think I hope they all sang. I don't know if that's true or not, but it was really good.
Yeah. Back then, I think they just assumed it was part of the career path. These are still young actors, right? It was.
Yeah.
They never asked, can you sing? They just said, here's your costume, Johnny Bravo. Go out there and sing.
Yeah. But so it was in like the guy who played the dad of the daughter.
Yeah.
Familiar face, right?
Yep.
His longest stint was on Barney Miller.
Barney Miller, yes.
5 episodes as a cop on Barney Miller, or 6 episodes.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. And then
by the way,
no, go ahead.
I was going to say, that's another one to put a pin in as a potential future show.
Yeah. I still have one very vivid memory of that particular episode it's a Christmas episode. So it was great.
Okay. All right.
And then the woman who played Karen LaGrande, she didn't act much, but she was in the industry doing other things. But her next longest stint was on Hill Street Blues.
Of course, so, that's the pipeline.
We're seeing all of that, but they finished it up where I think coach is feeling good, vice principal's feeling good, the principal's good, and the students are trusting Reeves. And
he's built a foundation.
Yep, and then
Carver High.
And they manifest that when Thorpe says, "I go to coach for advice." The girlfriend and the girlfriend tells Coach Reeves that.
Yeah.
So I thought
that actually is a perfect little piece to say it. So they like I said, built the foundation. Now what are they going to do with it?
Yeah.
Obviously they're going to bring him some success, and we'll see. And in my own mind, one of my all-time favorite shows, which does not need a rewatch podcast because A, it was recently on, and B, it's beloved, and I'm sure there are lots of them, but Friday Night Lights, kind of trying to say it's okay. Coach gets in there, he's got the team. All right, now what does he build from there? The whole dynamic of trying to manage a high school team and all of the drama associated with that, but keeping things going on the field. I realize these are fake sports, Carlos, but at the same time, it's an element to them that I think adds to it.
So isn't there in the second season like 24 episodes or something? So
those seasons were long. Let's see here. Season 2 is 24.
Yeah, so I think that's the biggest season. So we'll get to know the team quite well here, I think.
We will. Including, I was just flipping through the episode titles and I see the penultimate episode of season 2, Coolidge Goes Hollywood.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember what it means, but I will discover that as I watch.
We will discover that. And then we also have, after season 2 of 24 episodes, there is a 16 or 15 episode season 3.
I'm looking forward to that. That's when we get some of the new players who were guest stars in the first.
Yep. And actually, I was going to mention, I should have done a screenshot. I will try to next time. There's like more guys in the locker room than there are characters we've been introduced to.
Exactly.
Like sometimes the guy who we've seen, who's always there, who we can say, okay, he's like a team manager or something. Sometimes it feels like he's in uniform in the locker room. Oh. You know what I mean? It's just there's something going on there where it's like going, we need more bodies. So I'm gonna try to go full Bruder film on that and see if I can't break some stuff down.
Let me give you a little hint. If you go to the last episode, the opening scene when they win the game, Salami or some other character, maybe it's Goldstein, gives a high five to one of those non-group members. Double high five, so you can do that as a Bruder film.
Right on.
So
what's the average basketball team? 12, maybe?
12, yeah. 12.
Yeah, so we've not met 12 characters on this team. We maybe have 7.
Yeah, so. And it was great. The only other thing I had on here was like my favorite actor who actually really acted. I would say was the principal for me for some reason.
He is really a solid actor. He really is. And I like how he just basically is bemused by the fact that he throws Reeves and Buchanan in together. You know what I mean? And he just, fine, I'll referee it, but I'm going to make some popcorn and enjoy it. That's the attitude that I get from him. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he's just like, his authority doesn't get challenged. He just, like I said, he seems like he's got a good gig.
And he seems the most like, hey, yes, that guy really sounded like a principal from 1978, 79. So I really like that.
And he hasn't said it. He hasn't said it, but I feel like the undertone of this entire thing is that he didn't go to Ken Reeves because he thought, we're going to put our program on the map and we're going to win city championships and stuff like that. I feel, and it wasn't stated, but I feel like he's like, this is a good guy that I knew in college and he would really be helpful to these kids. Once again, maybe I watched too many Hallmark movies when I was a kid and I'm trying to find something sappy that's not said, but that's the impression I get. Cause otherwise he'd be more about, hey, let's sign this kid. Let's get this kid.
Yeah. Which I think happens a little bit here in the season 2. So as my memory.
Does. Yeah, we got to remember here in season 1, we did have the kind of the playground ball player of
the guy from Star Trek, Jonathan.
No, the guy who being Bobby Hill on Hill Street Blues. Yeah, the gambler.
Yeah,
Ken Reeves was not all. Yes, he's got to go to school somewhere.
Yeah, but if you, I've been doing player spotlights on our Facebook page. Yeah. Look for key guest spots where I'll talk about those particular ones. They're going to come through here as I get here to this weekend. And also to our listeners now on YouTube. If you want to check us out on YouTube, we're on there. And then one of the abilities of YouTube is there's a post section, and I have posted on the post section the classic ESPN White Shadow commercial.
Oh, perfect. Yes.
So they can go see that, and it'll be about the White Shadow, and it's just this is gonna grow. And so anyone who wants to come along for the ride, we're here.
And I think I mentioned it, trying to get the word out to fan sites and people that love this show. This is a labor of love for us. We loved this show as kids. I'm enjoying watching it as an adult. So I'm having fun doing it, but all we're doing is love for the show. To me, that seeing Reeves and Coolidge on ESPN a decade and a half later was pure joy for me. Exactly. He's breaking it down. Like Carver, this is how we did it. It was awesome. Or even seeing Coolidge show up as an orderly on St. Elsewhere was a delight.
And when I saw him, a clip of him chatting up Salami, got added to the YouTube page at some point.
Yep.
That, I don't know, just, wow, why didn't they come together, right?
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? I like the cute, hey, listen, no one's getting paid for this, but it's a little homage, right?
Yeah, or as the kids would say, an Easter egg, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think, too, I like homage because we
got a supersized episode going here, my friend.
Yeah, we do. So I think, and the other thing too, Carlos, we haven't really talked about this, but I think you and I off air have talked about maybe this next episode, the transition episodes before second season, where we talked to them about what shows we might want to do and want to get feedback about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's what we should do as our next episode before. Palate cleanse is the wrong word because it's not like we need to clear out our throat, but basically just do a little transitional discussion to preview a few weeks down the line of what we want to do next. I have some ideas. I think that we can get some ideas. If people have some ideas, some comments, and I think that you've got come up with a way to encourage people to suggest those to us.
So you will see very shortly over the weekend here. There's going to be a post on our social media Facebook where we're doing a little giveaway. You can win an authentic Carver High basketball card, and basically the instructions are basically like our page and then make a suggestion of what shows you'd like to have us go to next. And Carlos and I will discuss those posts into the next episodes.
Awesome.
It's been a pleasure, Carlos, these past episodes, and this would be number 8, I believe. And I look forward to next week as well.
Absolutely, Joe. You have a great weekend and the rest of your week, and we will talk next week, a more White Shadow.
All right. Good day, everybody.
Bye, everybody.